morning. It's early on Easter, and I am going to surprise 3 of my boys because they are going to be at Easter today. My one son's in from New York, and he hasn't had these in a long time. I made these when the kids were little, and I ran daycare. They're called baroques, but I don't make all of the baroque. I only do the dough, and then a baroque traditionally is a German, I don't know what you'd call it. It's stuffed with, it's like a kolaschke in all honesty, where you stuff it with meat and cheese and whatever toppings you want. Traditional baroques are ground beef, cabbage, and cheese. I knew my little kids would need them. I knew the daycare kids would need them. So I made pizza roll-ups the first time. And I took this dough and I put pepperoni and cheese. I rolled them up, sliced them like you would cinnamon rolls, and baked them. The kids loved them, thought that was the greatest thing. Well, I decided to change it up and do taco meat one time with cheese. According to my 3 boys, it is the best thing I've ever made. And I even think Jake says it is as well. So I guess it is all 4 boys think that this is amazing. So I make it, in fact, it's the reason I went out and got the bread machine again. It's a very, very, very soft dough. I don't know what it is about my house. I can never get soft dough to rise. I can now, so I think it just must have been all in my head. So you're gonna start out with 1 cup of warmed milk. I wouldn't go higher than about 110, otherwise it'll kill the yeast. You add in 1 egg. Oh, good grief. We're a little tough today. I need a paper towel. 1/4 cup sugar. Salt, so that I didn't have to pour it all over the place like I did the other day. Sugar. And 4 cups yeast. Or yeast. 4 cups flour. Oh, it's early and I'm tired. And 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. And that's it. I'm going to put it in the bread machine on dough cycle to make life very, very easy, because I still have to make 4 things of sliders for today and a loaded baked potato bake. So I'll bring you back when we go to do this. So it has now rose in the bread machine for the last hour and a half, and it's ready to go. Sometimes it rises out of the pan, sometimes it doesn't. It is just a really, really nice dough to work with. Sometimes you do need to flour your surface. It's hit or miss on whether you really, really need to or not. Trying to re-angle this. So just get it out and start working it. And as you see, it's a nice sized dough, and it literally will fill this whole counter when I do this way. Probably didn't need the flour, but start working it. I feel like this is the most work you do on this whole thing. I've already made the ground beef. I just take a pound of ground beef. It's like I said, this was something really economical to make when you are feeding 10 plus kids. And then I'd still have a few left over for the freezer. Because most of the kids that I watched when I did daycare were in the toddler age. Crazy, I know, it's what I preferred. And they'd age out to school age and I'd still watch them, but so I decided not to show you every unflattering angle I had as I rolled this out. This took about 10 minutes, but as you see, it's really big. You get the dough really, really thin. And this dough is, like I said, it doesn't tear. It is just really nice dough. So typically what I do is I make as much of a rectangle as I can, and I just drop the taco meat. Just a pound of ground beef. You can do more. And get it all over. It's like I said, you can do a lot more. I feel like half of why these are as good as they are, it's the dough. It's just this soft, beautiful dough, and it just ends up being so nice that I feel like the kids like it. I don't know, I'm feeding a 30-year-old, a 21-year-old, a 30-year-old, so it's not like I have little kids anymore. And then just add whatever you want. I had this cheese already shredded, which is what I prefer, but I also have a little bit of bag that they had picked up at the store. And I'm just going to use what I've got. Otherwise, I'd have to wreck more cheese today. I don't feel like it. I'm usually generous with the cheese. I always keep a dough scraper. Okay. And I leave edge around the sides so you can kind of tuck it in so that when you go to cut, same theory as a cinnamon roll. And I just start rolling. I always like to say some of the simplest meals don't have to be hard to taste good. This is the only part I ever struggle with because it's not a sticky dough. You have to kind of work the ends. And sometimes I just take some off the ends if I think it's going to be too doughy. And that's all you do, and then you just slice it, and I'll come back with that in a minute. Okay, I got my pan ready. I just take a baking sheet and put parchment paper on it because I'm a little lazy like that. I love parchment paper. To cut this, you can do it any way. I just use this. And I cut it in half. And you see? Cinnamon roll. Taco roll-up style. I make them about that thick. Maybe an inch and a half. And then you just put them on the baking sheet. Bake 350. I think it's about 15 to 20 minutes, but that's all in how your oven does. Now the ends, because as I said, you know, I always say the ends are a little more doughy. I flatten those a little bit. And leave these some room on your baking sheet. They expand. Let's see if I can get a hole. Yeah, I think I can get, if I do this right. And there we go. I'll come back and show you what they look like when we're baked. Here's what they look like when they are all done out of the oven. And I have 2 pans of them. They're really kind of hot still, but they're just nice. Nice little bottoms. And see, I know you looked at that when I put it in and you go, that's not a lot of meat. It's not, but it just ends up looking so pretty. And as I said, you could do this with pepperoni and cheese as well. The dough is what makes this phenomenal. So I'm gonna start on the loaded baked potato casserole for today to go with our sliders. I just took about 6 to 7 russet potatoes, and I cheated and put them in my Instapot for about 20 minutes and let them slow release, and baked potatoes. Nice and easy. I just took them out of the skins. I left some skins on, I'm not real concerned. About a half stick of butter. This is ranch powder. It's supposed to be about a tablespoon. Kind of eyed it. Probably a little more. A cup of sour cream. As I said, I'm gonna just put in what I want. I'm bad about measurements when I cook. I'm better about it when I bake. I just want it to look and feel a certain way and taste a certain way. I'm not making it so it's mashed. There's some chunks in here, just something different. We typically for Easter do full meals. We don't typically do something easy like this. So, I don't know, it's just been a lot over the years with my mother and her always doing these full, huge meals, and I never feel like I can help. She hasn't wanted my help, a lot of it. And now it's gotten to the point, I work a lot, so I understand. She wants to make my life easier. So I cooked up about 1.5 pounds of bacon in the oven. My favorite way to do it. And I grated a huge bowl of cheese, because you're going to want to put some on. Just put bacon on the top too, but I just put it all in. I can always cut up some more and throw it on top if I want to. And then mix it all together. Make sure everything's coated, I think. Just make something different. One of my favorite big casserole dishes. I know it'll hold it.
My goal was not to make so much food that we all leave with food. That's always been a problem. We overcompensate even though I have big boys, and for some reason they never come hungry. All right, top with cheese. You could top with bacon. You could sprinkle some green onions on top. I didn't see any at the store last night. I ran to BJ's to get all the lunch meat and stuff. I don't like lunch meat after it's been sitting in the refrigerator a few days. I know, I'm weird. The stuff from the deli, if you buy the packages of it, I'm not as weird about it. But after they've cut it, I just feel like it only tastes good for a few short days. So I just didn't want it to be sitting in the refrigerator. All right, that's it. We'll bake it at 350 for about 25-30 minutes, just nice and bubbly. So on to the sliders. Everybody knows how to make these. I'm just gonna make 3 different, so I thought it would give you guys some ideas on different ones you can do. I am gonna start out with the ham. So I went ahead and sliced my Hawaiian rolls to make it a little bit easier. And at one point I used to fold each one and do this. I stopped doing that. Now I just throw them all on here. We're gonna cut them anyway, so not a big deal. If I have extra lunch meat, I'm going to freeze it. And I'll use it like in sliders again if I need to. Sometimes I feel like they have too much meat, and other times I don't feel like I get enough on there. So we'll go with that. I was close. That was only 2 slices left. And of course, I went to BJ's for everything last night, not thinking. And I knew I couldn't make it all these in time. So I ended up with deli cheese. So we're gonna have a lot left. I'll have to figure out what we're having with Swiss cheese this week. I typically don't like to freeze cheese like that, but I can. I made up just a big batch, and this is just butter, brown sugar, Worcestershire sauce, and a little bit of mustard. I kind of just do a little bit on the inside. I feel like it just gives them a little bit more moisture. Nothing major. And I never make the right amount of this stuff either, so it's kind of a hit or miss, and I play with it till I decide I like it. I am putting these all together. If I was just doing this at home, I would put them together, but I have to transport these to my parents' house. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do the butter. I don't care for poppy seeds. I love the taste. They get stuck in my teeth. I typically don't do them for these, but you can if you want. You can also put a little bit of dehydrated onion. As I said, this wasn't like brain science here. So on to number 2. This one is one of our favorites. I've been making this one for a while, and this is the roast beef. I was gonna do 2 pans of it, one of the ham and one of the rotisserie chicken roast bacon ranch. My aunt makes a really good chicken pesto, but she's notorious and claims that she doesn't do anything special with it. Yeah, she does some things. My boys claim hers tastes better, although I'm starting to believe my boys are just they're taking a memory, kind of like I do too. A lot of things, I'm a person that thinks things have memories established with them. All right, we'll use the rest of that on the next one. And this one, we're gonna put cheddar. I ended up with a huge thing of cheese. So like I said, I didn't estimate my time well, and I got stuck at work. Oh, here goes the hand thing. There we go. I even struggle with plastic containers with the arthritis. And I just load them up with cheese. I mean, there is literally nothing. This was just more so you had a different variety of ideas to do these with. This one I typically don't put on the inside. I don't know why I just don't. And that's number 2. So onward, as I said, this is what is so nice about these, is you can basically do anything with them, and they're so versatile. And that's in itself kind of nice. So this is the one I'm going to get a little creative on. So I've got the bread, and I did such a lovely job. It's several different layers, levels of bread in here. I think that's the worst part of it, is slicing these. Now I did a pound of ham, almost a pound of roast beef. This is only 3/4. So we'll see how this goes on here, and whether I like the amount or not. I just didn't want extra of everything. I knew if I had extra ham or extra roast beef, those could get eaten in lunches. Typically, the ones I have left at home are not chicken fans. That's my 21-year-old. He's the one that likes this bacon ranch one. And these pieces don't go on as nice. I like to go to BJ's for lunch meat because I can go to my Myers, and for the Dietz and Watson, it's $10.99 a pound, and I have heart failure, so I don't buy it very often. But at BJ's, it's typically $8.99 a pound, and a lot of times, like yesterday, I even had a coupon. So we're going to do bacon. Chicken bacon ranch. So when I did all that bacon earlier for the other, I went ahead and sliced some just to put on this. There's plenty of bacon. So it's not like I have to be chintzy. On this one, then we're going to add the cheese. I feel like if I do it this way, it holds the bacon in place. I don't know whether it really does or not. And this is the final step. I'm going to take this. I took a little bit of the sour cream and a little bit of that ranch powder and just make a homemade ranch dip kind of thing. Make it thick, because I feel like if you make this a little bit thicker rather than runny, when you bake it, it doesn't run off. It's not as messy. I also don't want it to scream ranch. I have one or two that I know don't care for it. So, and then top it with, keep restirring this stuff. And this just made for a really simple, easy get together where we didn't feel like my mother had to cook for make a lot of food. She's made an ice cream cake, and she made our homemade black bean salsa that everybody loves. And I'm sure she probably did something else that she hasn't told me about. But growing up, we always did leg of lamb. We did hams, but only occasionally. My grandfather didn't like ham for whatever reason. But we did leg of lamb for Christmas, and my mom and I both said it would have been so much better if we could grill it, but December in Indiana is not grill weather, and April in Indiana isn't always. It's absolutely beautiful out. Typically it's cold and it's rainy. That's what I remember all of my Easter egg hunts in. So you got to play with the weather here. All right. I'll take these to my mom's. I'll wrap these in foil, take them to my mom's. We'll throw them in the oven about 350 for about 10-12 minutes. Then I'll pull the aluminum foil off, bake them for about another 5 to 10, and just watch them, and they'll be ready to go.